there's one thing that I imagine that you probably don't like about the story, but it's that association as Russell Manser, the bank robber, versus Russell Manser, the positive, uplifting, person that you are. Is that something else aside from the trauma itself that are you content with that? You're happy with that? Or is that something that you're trying to change or you don't like?
Yeah, when you think about it, well, it's the truth, right?
Yeah.
I used to be a bank robber. That's one thing I settled with it. It's the truth. But the more and more work I'm doing, more and more podcasts I'm doing, I've got a book coming out next year. I've got there's talk of some media stuff. The more and more I do, it's like cringe, right? Someone asked me, do I still relate to cringe? I relate to cringe, but I don't relate to excuses. I used to fucking cop their excuses.
Yeah.
I don't engage. Like I get phone calls through work and everything like that. Someone wants to talk to me. I've got people who take them.
Yep.
So I put that distance. It's not that I think I'm better than them. I just think I've just grown.
Yeah, Beth does a great job. Yeah.
Yeah. I've got growth, I've got a PA, Beth, and she handles a lot. I've got a couple other people that work doing different things. But there's this growth, and that growth, I know, I know those people. I know their stories and everything like that. I don't know if I'm like them anymore.
Yep.
I think I might have grown out of that. I don't think I'm better than not one single bit, because I still know what these people go, identify what they've went through to make that. But I also identify the work I've done to get away from it.
Yeah.
To not be that person. And, it's funny, I've had a few people say, these people have contacted me and they said, we used to hate you, we used to troll you, we used to do this. And I'd say, yeah. I'd say, now our son's on ice and we couldn't think of a better person who we can reach out to talk to. And I go, yeah, sweet. I don't hold anything against them people. I understand them because, there's a perception through the media and that people like me are bad people.
Yeah.
But when you ask me what happened to me, you might understand why I was that bad person.
And then the other thing is, Russ, when you go back to the start, right? Growing up in Mount Druitt around these guys coming back from jail, you thought they were like war heroes, the way you were treated by police. So in that context, you thought you were doing the right thing. You were, standing up almost against the cops who were treating you like shit to some extent. So I think the onus to some extent could also fall back on the police or the authorities in the area. And then you go along to, when you're robbing banks throughout the 90s. And I think, again, moving back into that ABC documentary that you were in, I was looking at some of the CCTV footage or the surveillance footage of you robbing some of those banks. And it was almost like you wanted to get caught. You were apologizing to the bank teller. You had basically the balaclava you had was like half on your face, half off your face, like you wanted to get caught.
That was 2014. That was 2013, 2014. Was that long ago? But yeah, I think there's truth in that. There's truth in it.
You weren't trying to traumatize people. You
No, I
weren't.
I wasn't. It was never my intention to traumatize. Unfortunately, I did. And unfortunately, and I accept that. And that's what I am truly remorseful for, and I've done the work not to do that again. But yeah, I get it. Because I was so I was beaten, man. I was so beaten to the point of making peace with death. And I had full intentions of killing myself when I went back to jail. I made plans to do it. I made peace with it. So, you know what I mean? I was at that stage where I didn't care if I lived or died. And jail was an option. But, I wasn't going to be a voluntary prisoner. I was going to, I didn't feel good about what I was doing. I just didn't feel good about it. I didn't feel good. And more so, I didn't feel good about me, and yeah, that's a crazy thing. I do take time to sit back and say, I can go back right now and meditate. If I close my eyes right now, I could go back. I'm good at this and meditate exactly how I felt back then. I'll close my eyes and I can wake up and go, fuck, I never want to feel like that again. Today's a choice. I don't have to.
Yeah.
There's an art to that.
Yeah. You said you're very aware. You got very self-aware, but also physically aware around your surroundings. Do you think you obviously picked that up through being a bank robber?
Bruce pointed that out. I think he said it in the podcast together. I've never come across a guy that's got an awareness surrounding like you. he also said, I haven't come across someone who's got a curiosity like you. And he said, and that's what's going to fucking separate you from most. But that, he goes, when we were in, he goes, off camera, he said, who's here? And I said, oh, there's a cameraman, there's someone behind, there's a soundie behind me. And I said, and the soundie's wearing a blue hat. And he goes, you got eyes in the back of your head? I said, I just know they're there because I've screenshotted. I've come in and taken photographs of them into the room. And that's a trauma response as well.
Yeah.
Always
So
been
when you're robbing those banks, but if you go right back to the 90s,
yeah.
when you robbed those 5 banks in the Lane Cove one where
Parramatta twice.
$90,000.
Yeah. Gordon. Yeah.
But back then, I think you've spoken about, this is out of my time, but 25 grand for a house in Mount Druitt. So, you know, if you're thinking about all the money you were taking out of these banks, you should have been like a property mogul. But how much money were you spending on drugs to the point where all of that money was going into sustaining your habit?
At one stage, it was $1,500 a day. A gram of heroin was worth $300, so I was spending $1,500 a day.
Wow.
And you know, like, it's funny because I don't like to really go into this part of the story, but I will. When you have a shot, you know, you normally get, you use a Coke can and you put the powder in the Coke can, you hit it with water and you suck it up. And my mate come with me one day and he see me at the size of the amount of I put in there. He goes, are you mixing up 5 or 6 shots? I said, no, that's my one shot now. And he goes, fucking no way. He could not believe the amount that I could put away. My tolerance was so fucking high. It was so high. So I could have a $300 shot in one go, you know. And, you know, I don't think the heroin was as strong as it is today, but because it's really strong apparently today. But that's how I did it, you know, and you know, $1,500 a day. But in saying that, I had a lifestyle too, you know. I was always one of these guys that I always like to be really well dressed, and you know, I'm just dressed now. I'm going to the gym after this, but I always like to be really well dressed. And I had shoe collections. I was still living like a rock star. Then I had a beautiful fucking flat on the water. I had a motorbike, brand new cars. The coppers were in heaven when they went to my wardrobe. They, you know, because they ended up with my whole fucking wardrobe, shoe collection, jewelry collection, everything. I still had all of that, but because, you know, there's still a part of me, there's always been a part of me that's fucking wanted to take pride in my appearance, even though, you know, there's a good photo on my social media somewhere. It's a picture of me on a motorbike with fucking my ex-girlfriend. Looks like everyone was saying it's Tom Cruise, Top Gun sort of stuff, but that really encapsulates. I'm really well dressed, I'm on a motorbike, you know, and I think it was about 3 days later I was arrested for fucking armed robberies, you know. I was always one of those guys that took a bit of, I mean, I was still going to the gym with a heroin habit.
Yeah.
Counterproductive, I know, but I was still going to the gym, still trying to watch what I eat, you know. But I remember my girl going to open, like she went into the fridge once and went to open a carton because I used to hide my heroin use from her. So I had loaded syringes with heroin hidden in the milk cartons. And she went to pour a carton of fucking syringe poured and she went, what the fuck is that? And she looked in the milk carton, it was stacked. They had 5 loaded syringes in it. She goes, what's that? And it was the first time she realized the extent of my heroin habit, you know, and it really shocked her. She was a school teacher, you know, and I was very protective of the people around me when I was in crime. I made sure it got kept away from them. They didn't see anything. They didn't see guns. They didn't see large amounts of money, but they knew I was doing pretty good, you know. And I made up some bullshit that I was selling superannuation or something like that. So I had some bullshit, half semi-feasible story that people were believing in it because I'd take off, make I was going to work and stuff like that. But, you know, today I don't have that. Today, you know, there's a line in the John Cougar Mellencamp song that says, an honest man's pillow is his peace of mind. And I've got it, you know. If someone knocks on my door, I answer it. I'm not saying, who is it? Have you got a warrant or whatever? I answer my door. I still, look, people go, you know, I still have sleep problems, but that's okay. I manage that these days. I've got little things in place that protect me from the trauma of all that.